It's Thursday, June 18th. Welcome aboard to this edition of Barnstable Today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Andrew Gobiel. Thank you very much for joining us on this Thursday. We are coming to you from the Town Hall hearing room today.
Just a reminder, the meetings we cover are available on the town's website, www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
One meeting is on the agenda for this evening. The Town Council is going to meet later on today right here in the Town Hall hearing room. More on that meeting in just a moment.
But before we begin, more on yesterday's shoot location. We brought you Barnstable Today from the Farmers Market on East Main Street.
The weather certainly cooperated for that first Farmers Market day of the season. Beginning at 8 in the morning, visitors made their way through the displays and food stands filled with fruits, vegetables, baked goods, and even some seafood.
Thanks.
Also on hand, Town Health Administrator Director Tom McKean checking to make sure all was in good, clean, working order. He gave his approval and everything went off without a hitch. The Farmers Market will be open at its East Main Street location every Wednesday until early September. It opens at 8 and wraps up by noon.
As mentioned, the Barnstable Town Council meets tonight, 2 weeks after it finalized the more than $150 million town budget.
Garnering most of the attention on today's agenda is a $50+ million proposal to improve the town's sewer infrastructure. Kevin had an opportunity to sit down with Assistant Town Manager Tom Lynch earlier this week to discuss the plans.
Well, all of the wastewater affects a lot of folks because these ordinances set aside funding that needs to be in place by June 30th so that we would then be positioned to be able to get grant money or loan money from the state revolving fund, what you'll hear referred to as the SRF fund. And so Mark Ells will be making a presentation on both the Wequaquet Lake area and the Stewart's Creek area to show design plans and that would need to be in place to help with the sewering for that area of town, both Wequaquet down through Finney's Lane and parts of Main Street, Centerville, and over at Stewart's Creek and Hyannis. Large sums of money. We're talking about $44 million with Wequaquet Lake area. We're talking about another 7 or 8 with Stewart's Creek. There's also money for pump station and hooking up to the main system. It's part of the whole stimulus package where design and permitting and commitments have to be made by certain dates in order to be able to apply for the 0% or the 2% loans. So there have been notices that have gone out to all the residents who would be affected along the way. I happen to be one on Finney's Lane who got a card announcing that this would be happening on Thursday night, and so any citizens can either watch on TV or come down to testify, because were this to go through and were we to start this sewerage upgrade all the way through that area, then there would be betterment charges, and folks would eventually hook up to the sewer, then move to Title V or other septic systems.
That, however, is not the only item on the agenda for the meeting.
Also on the agenda is a joint public hearing with the Planning Board to discuss the district of critical planning concern.
Kevin and Tom also addressed that issue in their meeting earlier this week.
Well, a lot has gone into this, so there'll clearly be a presentation of, Joey Melabuntage has kept, the interim director, has kept the council abreast of what's been happening with working with the residents on this District of Critical Planning Concern, or this DCPC. Here we're looking at changes to the village district. And so it's rather a lengthy ordinance. You'll note that most times it's 1 or 2 pages. This has 5 or 6, I believe, where they're talking about building heights and character of the village and what they're trying to accomplish through this. After that presentation, however, linked with this is also an ordinance that would allow for that village area to enter into regulatory agreements. And that would mean that were, say, a commercial entity in that particular area want to expand or change use or whatever, that would go into a negotiated agreement, much like we do with the growth incentive zone here in Hyannis, which has proved to be very popular in terms of being able to take a project and get all the input of all the citizens and the regulatory boards before you have that issue of starting to go to get various permits. So that would be a big change for that particular area, and I believe a positive.
Among other things to be discussed, a $150,000 appropriation to finance the lighting of the walkway to the sea down to Hazelton Memorial Park.
The sewer project to be discussed tonight ties in somewhat with a project that came before another town board earlier this week.
The DPW went before the Conservation Commission Tuesday to update and explain a few changes in a proposed sidewalk construction project on Ocean Avenue near Keys Beach and Stewart's Creek. Now, a neighbor to the project expressed support for the proposal, but hoped the DPW and other agencies working on Stewart's Creek would spend a bit more time coordinating their efforts.
But my own belief has been all along that any work in this area for public works, for sidewalks and so forth, would actually be integrated with the Stewart Creek project, which is a much larger project. To the extent that you would be taking the present conduit that's underneath that road and doing major excavation to put a larger conduit in place, it would impact whatever sidewalk you put in today. I don't know of a construction plan which would say what would be the tearing up of that area to involve what sidewalk you had immediately abutting there. It's a very short distance from that road to the water's edge. I think the construction vehicles would have to be clearly on the sides and would therefore tear up some of the sidewalk that would be put in at this point, I would have thought. I appreciate the proposers' comments about integrating with the Army Corps of Engineers. I would have thought that something that of this nature would be done approximately contemporaneously, for the reason aforementioned, for the excavation impact.
And that impact is being felt by residents across the area.
This walkway has a lot of interest in town, and it surprised me. At our last annual meeting several weeks ago, I brought up the fact, well, after we finish all the business of the meeting, is there anything you want to tell us? And this popped up, and I'm surprised after looking into it as to how many people are very interested in having this come out right. And the right way to do it is not with asphalt. It's just too sensitive, too open an area, and we should be proud of that area. I think Greg has said everything I could have said, so I won't repeat it, but I hope you consider that very seriously.
The board voted to continue its discussion of this project until its July 21st meeting.
And just a reminder, the town council meeting gets underway at 7 o'clock tonight. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Andrew Gobiel. Have a great night.